Hey, my Legion, how y'all doing today? Boy, the trailer seems a lot more emptier since the past through my dad. And I got a book review for you guys. This is the one on called Hitman by Bret HITMAN Hart. Now, I started reading this a while back, and I met a friend at work named Ron. He's not working there no more, and he said he had a book by Dave Brocky, the lead singer from Guar, called War Ghoul. So I decided after about page 200 of the Bret Hitman Hart book, I decided to ask if I could borrow that and then start reading that book. Because, I mean, I only had one chance to get the book because I didn't know he wrote a book. So I set the Bret Hitman Hart book down for at least 3 weeks and I started reading it again. And I finally finished it. And this is a great book. Apparently, for the longest time, he had a tape recorder with him and he was recording his thoughts. And he said, like, someday he, in his mind, had said it'd make a hell of a book. And it's a great book. It really is. It really tells about his growing up in the family. And, well, let me warn you about something. The first 40 pages or 45 pages of the book involved, like, really bad cases of child abuse from his dad, Stu Hart. I mean, he loved his kids, but, I mean, he abused them, too. At least the first 40 pages has a lot of abuse in there. And then something happened when Bret Hart was a teenager and his dad abused him, hit him again. And then his wife must have gave him hell and he came in the room and he said, I'm sorry, I'll never hit you again. He never did. But he abused his kids for a while. And then, to a certain point. And I should have warned you about the first 45 pages has a lot of stuff about child abuse in it. And it's still a really good book. But I had to let that out. That was the really bad part. That was like really tough to get through the first 45 pages. After that, he talks about, well, Stu's wrestling business because he started Stampede Wrestling. And he was always a promoter, big time promoter. His kids were involved. A lot of kids were involved in wrestling. And then his sons became wrestlers eventually. And Stu Hart was really famous for putting you through your paces and stretching you, putting you in painful holds in his dungeon. And that's where he trained a lot of different wrestlers. So I think the last wrestler to get trained in the dungeon, I can't remember who it was. But I mean, they said it was, but I can't remember who it was. And this has everything up to, including Bret Hitman Hart's debut in WWE, and he was going to debut earlier, but Vince McMahon Jr., not senior to his dad, but his junior, when his dad retired and Vince Jr., who you see now, took over, he said that Bret wasn't a big enough name to headline to be in Madison Square Garden and stuff like that. However, later on he brought him on. It goes through everything, all the trials and tribulations, being screwed over by Vince constantly, the Montreal screw job, being betrayed by Shawn Michaels, being betrayed by Triple H, being messed over the death of his brother Owen Hart, unfortunately. I mean, it's part of the book, but unfortunately that happened. Uh, what else? Him being in WCW, reluctantly, but I mean, Vince screwed him over so bad he had no other alternative except go. And also the kick by Goldberg to his face, a drop kick that caused his career-ending concussion, a whole bunch of other stuff. It's a great book. I really enjoyed it. It's a very, very great read. In a way, I was sad that the book was over with today. It's a great book. What else was there in there? Oh, yeah, a lot of fighting with his family, a lot of fighting with the brothers and sisters throughout as they got older, they were fighting more and more. It was something else. And also, like, I give this book a 10 out of 10. Also, there's a little puzzle in here too, kind of. He was famous for drawing pictures, and here's one. And it's kind of a game. When I first started reading this, you have to guess who everybody is. Some of them are kind of easy, some of them are tough. Like that one is Yokozuna right there. And You know, you can get the Undertaker, Mick Foley up here. And there's actually, one cool thing is, along with that, the very last page, there's actually a key, a picture key to all the wrestlers right there. Some of the wrestlers I never heard of before, some I have. You got the Bushwhackers and Andre the Giant. Some wrestlers I never heard of. Let's say one I never heard of. Uh, Wolfie, never heard of Wolfie. Uh, Duke Myers, never heard of that. Like people like that, I never heard. He was like it was the '70s wrestlers too, you know. But it's a great book. It gets a 10 out of 10 for me. If you get a chance, pick this up. Bret Hitman Hart. It was made. It was written back in 2007. I think I bought it through that Edward All, that Dalton bookseller guy I was talking about in that Why Buy Me Discount Books at a couple weeks ago. I think this was $4.95, so it's a pretty good deal. Great pictures in here. I want to show they got a picture of Stu Hart's dungeon. Oh, and he also talks about his movie Wrestling with Shadows, which I saw on Netflix. Actually, I saw that on well, I did a review of that. I saw that on A&E a long time ago, and then I saw it uncensored on Netflix. See, there's like two big sections of photos in here. Let me find if I can find the dungeon. Yeah. Well, there's this house. They had like this mansion called Hart House, and they were always eating between having money and not having any money at all. And there's the dungeon right there. Wait, let me get a good photo of that. See, and they said like those holes were people kicking it with their feet. I don't know about that, but that's the dungeon right there. Like I said, great book. I give it a 10 out of 10 for Hitman. Bret Hitman Hart, and it says, I like this right here. My Real Life in the Cartoon World of Wrestling. Great book. I highly recommend this. 10 out of 10. So until next time, bye, please take care of my Legion. I saw Smackdown tonight. It was okay. It's about an average Smackdown. Like I said, I mentioned that in my dinner video, which will be up later, that it was trending on Facebook that Brock Lesnar, when he slammed Jamie Noble, he broke 3 of his ribs. So Jamie Noble's not on there today. It was just the authority was just Kane and Joey Mercury. So, hope you like this review. Until next time, like I said, take care, everybody. Highly recommend Bret Hitman Hart's book. It's awesome. And next, I'm reading the story book about the Albion Tornadoes. And so hopefully I'll be doing a book review on that sometime. So take care, everybody.